Hey everyone, this video is serving two purposes. First and foremost, it's going to serve as an update, and then I'm going to go into what you're seeing on the screen. That portion of the video I'm mostly making for some friends of mine so that I'm not just typing out a million frickin' words to explain this to them. I'd rather just show them and explain through visual and audio. So, updates, first and foremost. For those who've been kind of paying attention, I haven't streamed in close to a month. And it's not that I'm abandoning streaming, don't get me wrong, because I want to stream. I really do. Reason I haven't streamed in close to a month is, well, there's a couple reasons. The big reason being I've been back in school for like the last month, and I said over a month ago, I was very transparent and forthcoming about this, that at all times, once I was back in school, that had to be my priority. I was not going to compromise that. So if that ended up eating into my time, or if it ended up eating up my energy and preventing me from streaming, that was just the way it was. And that's pretty much what's been happening. I want to stream, I really do, but right now it's just been really difficult to have the time and energy to do that. When I can, I will, but it's just been really difficult lately. So yeah, there you have it. There's the reason I haven't really streamed. As for what's on the screen, so this is Grim Dawn. I picked this up about 2 weeks ago, and pretty much what free time I have had has gone into this. And I'm not going to explain a whole lot about what Grim Dawn is, or characters, or builds, or anything like that. It's an action RPG by Crate Entertainment. If you want to know more, go on YouTube, go on Google, look it up on Steam, do whatever. I'm here just to explain the Crucible, a $6 on Steam piece of DLC for the game that adds an alternative game mode outside of campaign mode. What this is it's an arena-based survival sort of game mode where you are going through subsequent waves of increasingly difficult enemies, and you're trying to survive. How this works is I will end up coming up here and talking to this guy, and I'll start the Crucible, and it'll put me at wave 1. This little number will tell me what wave I'm currently on. And monsters are going to spawn from here and all the way down here, and the same for the other corners as well. They might spawn in here as well. I'm not sure. I can't really see in there. They definitely spawn there, and they definitely spawn up here. As they spawn, I'll try to clear each wave. Each wave has a bonus timer. If I can defeat the wave within the time limit provided by the bonus timer, then my score multiplier will increase, and it goes up to a max of times 10. If I fail to defeat a wave within the time limit provided by the bonus timer, it's not the end of the challenge. It just means my score multiplier, will reset to times 1. So being able to defeat waves very quickly lets me increase and maintain a higher score multiplier, which will increase my score. Failing to beat them within the bonus time limit will just completely reset it. Defeating enemy heroes, bosses, and nemesis will add extra time onto the bonus timer. And it's also important to know that at the start of each wave, the bonus timer will... How much time you have in the bonus timer is determined by your score multiplier. So at times 1, you'll get the max, which I think is like a minute. But then the higher up your score multiplier is, the less bonus time you have in subsequent waves. So it becomes progressively harder to maintain that bonus time and that score multiplier. At every intermission, which happens every 10 waves, you're given a chance to, buy potions, swap out gear, that sort of thing. You're also given a choice to end the Crucible, just end the challenge and get your rewards, or you can just keep going on and keep fighting. And it's an important choice, but I'll get to why it's an important choice a little later. Every 10 waves, you're going to earn your experience then. You don't actually earn your experience during the waves. You earn it at the end of every 10 waves. And you're also going to earn tributes every 10 waves. Tributes are a currency unique to the Crucible. You can spend them here, or you can spend them with Turalia, the Immortal Archmage, the NPC over there. If you go to her and spend them, you can spend them on a couple of things. You can either spend them to get devotion points, which can go straight into your devotion skill tree, your devotion passive skill tree. You can also spend them to get, I'm not sure what they're called. They're basically buffs. They last for a set amount of time. I know the one buff I tried lasted for about 25 minutes, and it nearly doubled the amount of health I had to work with during that time. So you can spend them on buffs, or you can spend them on devotion points. You can also spend them here on one of these 4 posts here for what's called arcane defenses. It gives you it's almost like a turret, basically. I think so, anyway. Let me double check this. Yeah, they're basically defense turrets. You can upgrade each of these twice. The first time you upgrade one, you choose what kind of turret it becomes. The second time you upgrade it, you're buffing up the effectiveness of that defense. Tributes can also be spent with the big guy for some other things, but that doesn't really matter until you get way later into the Crucible. At wave 30 and onward, random mutators will be introduced to the game. These mutators can apply to either players or enemies. The mutators usually provide some sort of buff, while simultaneously providing some sort of debuff. So, for example, one of the mutators the enemies might get is Berserker. Makes them hit faster and harder, but it also makes them more susceptible to attacks. So it's that sort of thing. It's the pros and cons simultaneously sort of dealio that you would expect. And those mutators are completely random, and at certain waves, I believe they are reshuffled. So the further into the Crucible you get, the more mutators come into play, but then at certain points along the way, what those mutators actually are gets switched up. So keeps you on your toes. The challenge ends when you either die or you talk to this guy during an intermission at like wave 10, wave 20, somewhere along there, and you decide to just cash out. And regardless of how you end the Crucible, when you end it, the doors behind this guy are going to open up and you can go into the treasure room. And there's going to be some treasure chests in there with loot. You'll also get tributes and you'll also get XP. Now, the number of tributes you earn, the amount of XP you gain, and not only the number of treasure chests you get back there, but the quality of the loot, all is determined by the difficulty that you're playing on in the Crucible, by the number of waves you cleared, and by whether you decided to cash out or if you died during a wave. And that's why the choice matters. Because every 10 waves, you're given the choice to keep fighting or cash out. and there's some risk reward there. If you keep fighting, you could potentially make it through another 10 waves and get better rewards, but if you die, that's going to impact your rewards that you do get. So there's some risk reward there. You know, if you're feeling confident, you can keep pushing. If you're not feeling so confident, you can just cash out and then restart the Crucible altogether after you've gotten all of your loot and taken care of all that business. I should also point out this is not the only arena available. Each time you load into the Crucible, you're randomly assigned one of the arenas available in the Crucible game mode. And if you don't like the one you get, you can just back out to the main menu and load back in, and you might get the same one or you might get a different one. Each one's a little different in terms of general shape and what obstacles may be in the way. As for the score, depending on your score, you might get a bonus loot chest. So maintaining a high score multiplier and getting a high score does help you maximize the loot you get when the challenge ends, regardless of how it ends. Outside of that, the only other thing the score is really for is you have a leaderboard. It's completely personalized. It's not a global leaderboard. You won't see anyone else's scores on there except for your own. It's a nice way for you to challenge yourself and try to improve your own score. You can compare your score to other players for sure, but it's not the main focus by any means. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell, really, just from explaining it. So we'll go ahead and do the first 10 waves just to show it in action. So you can see on my mini-map, enemies get marked with a star, so I know where they are. That way I'm not wasting time running around trying to find them while the bonus timer is counting down. You can see I beat that wave within the bonus time limit, so I moved on to wave 2 with my score multiplier going up. However, my bonus time for the wave also went down, so that's where the challenge comes in. As the waves go on, they get increasingly difficult, so that's also going to affect things. Let's see here. Kill him, bash into him. I don't know why he got spawned. Oh, crap. I hate these things so much. They're just a pain in the butt. Oh, okay. Sweet. There we go. Getting... Some of these enemies are pretty squishy. Some of them are a little bit tougher. Part of that just comes down to resistances. Enemies may be resistant to the kind of damage I deal. That'll definitely play into it. Oh yeah, so enemies can randomly spawn. Well, I shouldn't say randomly, but some enemies will spawn in this center area rather than... oh, I need energy. Rather than at one of the 4 points around the outside of the map. 4 or 5 points, whatever it is. So that's something to be aware of as well, I suppose. Holy crap. More ethereals. Very obnoxious. Oh, these guys are terrible. I hate having to deal with these guys. Just because they throw down those sigils of consumption, which deals damage to me if I'm standing on them, plus it'll heal them for a percentage of the damage dealt. So it just gives them sustain, which makes it harder to kill them within the bonus time limit. Right now I'm not doing so bad, really. Got up to ×9, but I'm definitely feeling the pressure. Try to lure that one guy out. Oh my goodness. Aha! In the nick of time. Don't know if I'll be able to defeat this wave within the time limit, though. We'll see. On the plus side, This is a boss, and so if I defeat him, that'll add some time onto my bonus timer. So if I can do it without dying, there we go. That gave me a little more time. Ugh, debuffs. Super slow. There we go. So yeah, that's 10 waves. Easy peasy. You get some Vital Essence every 10 waves as well. That'll completely heal you and give you all your energy back. You can see I got some XP, I got a Tribute, and from here I can interact with the NPCs on either side of the arena. You know, maybe craft stuff, swap stuff out, buy stuff, sell whatever. I mean, you don't get loot during the wave, so that wouldn't really be a big deal. And then I can talk to this guy, and I can fight for another 10 waves, or I can just collect my reward. I'm just going to collect my reward to show you how this works. So you can see I got more XP. That actually let me level up. I got 2 more. Well, was it 2 more? Yeah, because... Well, I got tributes. That's the point. I got tributes, and I'm actually going to come over here, and I'm going to prove my devotion and spend 5 tributes so I can get a devotion point for this guy. And I'll put this point down in, yeah, we'll, wait, no, that's active already. So I can, yeah, put it there. So I got plus 15% to all of my damage, and it's going to increase my energy regen by 15%. Pretty nice to have. And then, of course, I can come up here, and we've got 5 chests out of this, which ain't bad. Just grab my loot. Or at least as much of it as I can, then I'll have to go sell stuff. And like I said, the number of chests you get is going to be partly determined by those 3 things I mentioned. Those being the difficulty you're playing on, the number of waves you cleared, and whether you chose to cash out or if you died, with that being how the Crucible ended. Oh, well, crap. Okay, well, whatever. I'll come back for the rest of that stuff. It's also going to be determined by your score. So having a higher score increases the odds of getting a bonus chest. And then, of course, the actual quality of the loot also gets determined by those 3 things. So there's that as well. So, yeah, that's the Crucible in a nutshell. Completely optional. Not a replacement for the campaign mode at all. There are some things that only exist in the campaign mode that are still super helpful. It's just an alternative game mode, something different, something fun. I'm liking it so far, and I'm just loving Grim Dawn as a whole so far. So, that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.